Hello, welcome to MoreBikes.co.uk and another episode in our series of basic bike maintenance. Today we're going to show you how to change the brake hoses on your motorcycle. If you're not in the mood to change your brake hoses, if you don't need to, this will also apply to basically updating the fluid in your brake hoses, bleeding them out, etc. So basically this is all you need to know to make your brakes feel kind of new again with the existing hoses that you've got on there, or definitely new again if you put new hoses on. So let's run through the equipment that you're going to need for this job. Number one, above all else, when you're dealing with brakes, is cloths. We're very big fans of cloths. We've talked about this in the other episodes in this series. Cloths are good. You're going to need more cloths than you would normally need. You need the usual cloths down there, but an old towel or two or three is essential. We'll get to why in a moment. Another thing you can use, if you have them, old curtains. Don't let people throw curtains out or bedspreads or anything like that. All of this stuff is essential. We'll touch on why in a moment. So cloths, make sure you've got those. We have a brake vacuum kit for bleeding here. You'll see that in action in a moment. They're not very expensive. You can find those 20, 25 quid, something like that. Fluid that you're going to replace is .4. Now this is .4 from Epony, and it is very good. We use it a lot. I use it a lot on my bikes specifically. Really recommend this. The reason you want so many cloths is that .4 brake fluid on motorcycle paint and motorcycle finishes is it's just like acid. You don't want this to drop anywhere on your paintwork, anywhere that you like the look of, because this will ruin it. And another top tip is if you do get any on the cloth or use a cloth to wipe up any excess .4, throw the cloth away. Immediately throw it away. Once your job's done, throw it away. Don't put it on the shelf. Don't wash it. It's only an old cloth. You might as well get rid, because there's nothing worse than in a month's time you're just getting that cloth to wipe something else up, wipe it over some paintwork or something, and the chemicals that are still in this cloth will knacker up the finish on your bike that you've just wiped. We speak from bitter experience. So if you use a cloth to mop up any .4, get rid of it, okay? Treat this stuff like acid and you'll be absolutely fine. It's not, you can get it on your skin, it's fine. Don't worry about it like that. But in terms of finish on your motorcycle, this is lethal. So keep it off your pride and joy. It's worth saying that we've got this sent through to us by our suppliers at XL Moto. XL Moto are involved in these videos, and we get all of our stuff with our fluids and things like that via XL Moto. There is a URL that's just appeared next to me. Click on that and you'll be taken straight through to XL Moto, where you can order this sort of stuff as well for your needs. Don't click on that yet, watch the video. You know how these things work. Now we're going to need hoses to replace the current hoses on our 1989 ZXR 750 H1 Kawasaki. We're using that bike because anything that you can apply to this motorcycle, we can show you on this motorcycle, you should be able to apply to your motorcycle. It's an older super bike, a bit of an icon of motorcycling, really cool. This one's in need of a bit of TLC, so it's getting the TLC via these videos. And what we will need, of course, are new hoses. Now I'm fitting Venhill hoses onto this bike. These are braided hoses. These are model specific. So if you go to Venhill, you'll see they have model specific. You can type in your bike and they've got the kits there ready for you. If they don't have the kit ready for you, they can make them up. Just speak to them, really good. We've got a single hose there with the fittings at the end that you can see. That's for the rear brake. And for the front brake on the Kawasaki, it's two hoses and they all come in a kit with the relevant fittings. In terms of tools, you'll need spanners, ranging from about 8mm to 14mm, depending on your bike. It's usually 10mm, 12mm for this sort of job, but make sure you've got some good spanners. And for the other side of it, you're going to need some sockets, same sort of sizes, and a socket handle. And last but not least, the one thing we always have on every job to hand is a Haynes manual. We really recommend Haynes manuals. Make sure you get one for your motorcycle. Nobody is too big and too clever to not need a Haynes manual. If nothing else, what you'll also have is all the torque settings and manufacturer recommendations that you need in there. So make sure you get a Haynes manual. To help get the fluid in and out as well, we need, thank you, Rob, a syringe. You can get these from anywhere. We got these via XL Moto, and we've got the fluids as well. So a syringe is very useful. You'll see why through that process. But if there's one thing to take away before you start this job, it's the cloth thing. .4 is horrendous. So keep the cloths to hand. You might need them. Better to have them on hand and not need them than need them and not have cloths around. Better for your bike finish. As always with this, if you're unsure about your own prowess with the spanners, then step back from this job and go and take your bike to a proper qualified mechanic. But it's really a job that a home mechanic should be able to do fairly straightforwardly. Worth also saying, if you have any work done, you do any work on your bike, on brakes in particular, but anything that is involved in riding the motorcycle, so any controls, chain, etc. like that, it's always worth, please check them over before you start riding the bike, make sure all feels okay. And with your brakes in particular, just take it easy for those first few miles until everything's bedded in and you're particularly happy. You know, you hear stories going past the chip shop at 120 mile an hour like he had no brakes, probably because he had no brakes. So let's not do that. Give yourself a check over, give yourself that time before you go out and ride again. I know it's a bit patronising, I know it sounds like the old uncle telling you, teaching you how to suck eggs. We don't mean to do that, it's just a flag up to do, all right? So this is it then, how to change the hoses on your motorcycle. So just to point out what we're doing before we get rolling with Rob Bean, as ever, our resident mechanic, our expert on all things motorcycle. Hello, Rob. Rob is from Mean Bean Motorcycles, and if you want to get in touch with Rob, ask him questions, get him to build your special, very good at building specials. All of Rob's contact details are below in the description for this video. Going back to the hoses, so what we'll change are these two hoses here on the Kawasaki. So it's these two that come out behind under the reservoir and out of the front brake. So we're changing these two hoses here. There's the banjo bolts at the top, and if we come around here, the back brake hose as well, which is this part, runs all the way down to the rear caliper, and you can see the connectors here, so they're going to get changed over as well. So that's it for the hoses. We thought it was just wise to show you what parts are being changed here, and we'll step back and we'll let Rob get on with it, and we'll update you as we go through the job. I'll have a squeeze. Oh mate, that is really nice.
Yeah, once the pad's bed in a little bit onto
Yeah.
the discs, it'll firm up a little bit.
Yeah. That's perfect. That's really nice. so there we go, that's it. That's changing the hoses on your bike. Changing the hoses or flushing them through, basically making sure your brake fluid is okay. Same procedure, just follow that through. Couple of things to bear in mind. One, end of any work practice, it's a very good idea, as Rob is doing, just to go around, give everything a wipe, a final wipe. You get to touch it, you get to feel it, you get to just check all those connections as well, make sure that you're not leaking any fluid anywhere. You won't be, of course, because you've tightened everything up, but it doesn't hurt to double check. And second thing is, I know we keep banging on about it, but the .4 fluid, just keep that away from your bike's finish, because it is lethal stuff. In terms of it will strip the finish off a bike. But other than that, you do that right, and you get a good feel at the lever, at the front and at the back, no air bubbles throughout. That's your hoses done on this part of your bike maintenance. Thanks very much for watching. Stay tuned for plenty more episodes on bike maintenance and how to do it right here on More Bikes.